It is also referred to as fintech. Fintech, which uses technology to improve and support financial services, is a quickly developing industry in Africa. Fintech solutions have been closing the gap in revolutionizing banking and financial transactions because there is restricted access to financial services throughout the continent. The rapidly expanding fintech sector in Africa uses technology to transform financial services. The industry is expected to expand by at least $40 billion over the next 3 years, making it a very profitable and revolutionary field that is attracting a lot of interest from investors both domestically and internationally. By boosting financial inclusion and opening up previously unexplored markets, fintech's creative strategy is changing the financial landscape of Africa and generating up to $150 billion in GDP for the region. As financial inclusiveness gains popularity, aspirational billionaires recognize the potential of fintech entrepreneurs to play a significant role in the economic future of Africa. Number 5. Affordable housing. By 2030, up to 50% of Africa's population is expected to live in towns and cities due to the continent's fast rural to urban migration. The need for affordable housing is being prompted by Africa's fast urbanization. Governments are finding it difficult to meet the demand for housing, so business people are filling the gap with creative fixes. One such innovative strategy that is lowering building costs and increasing housing accessibility for the general public is the conversion of shipping containers into reasonably priced residential and commercial facilities. This raises an important question: where are all of these people going to live? The most populous country in Africa, Nigeria, is predicted to have a housing shortfall of 20 million due to the government's inability to meet the rapidly rising demand for housing. Amidst this housing crisis, a number of interesting opportunities present themselves for other companies, such as mortgages, furniture manufacturing, building contractors, as well as cement production. Entrepreneurs in South Africa and Kenya have embraced creative ideas, turning shipping containers into incredibly imaginative and economical homes and offices that provide a more inexpensive option than standard housing. The best opportunities are found in housing supply at reasonable rates and in large quantities, which will open the door for major changes in the real estate industry and solve the urgent need for accessible housing throughout the continent. Moving on, number 6, crowd farming. A new business approach called crowd farming has the potential to completely transform African agriculture. Crowd farming increases agricultural productivity, lowers the need for imported food, and makes money for both investors and farmers by combining the resources of urban investors to help rural farmers. This creative strategy is anticipated to produce a league of prosperous agricultural businesses as Africa's population grows. Africa is expected to have a $1 trillion agriculture industry by 2030, demonstrating its enormous potential. Nonetheless, the $30 billion in food imports each year highlights the necessity for innovation. Crowd farming is a game changer whereby urban people invest in rural farmers and split harvest revenues. With so much undeveloped agricultural land, ideal weather, and a labor pool of workers, this business plan may boost output, lower import costs, and benefit farmers and investors equally. Crowd farming is already demonstrating its success through platforms in Nigeria, Somalia, and South Africa. This indicates a future in which the continent's agribusiness sector produces a new generation of millionaires as its population doubles. Number 7. Real estate. Real estate is a profitable industry that includes land, structures, and priceless natural resources like minerals, as well as crops. Many would-be millionaires have the potential to amass their riches thanks to the billion-dollar African real estate industry. Emerging real estate developments can be seen practically anywhere on the continent, with a focus on the construction of shopping centers, hotels and offices, and residential residences and apartments. Angola, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Mozambique, and Kenya have been identified by investors who are closely monitoring the real estate industry as important markets with tremendous upside. As the real estate market in these nations is at present flourishing, intelligent investors will find them to be very appealing. There are more and more chances in the real estate industry as cities expand and infrastructure advances. Entrepreneurs are leveraging this movement by reshaping environments with creative residential options, contemporary workplace buildings, and leisure areas. African real estate is about more than simply building homes. It's about creating distinctive skylines as economies steadily improve and capital floods the continent. Potential billionaires can profit greatly from this industry, which has the potential to create the next generation of African billionaires. Next up, number 8. African clothing and fashion. Within the next 5 years, the African fashion industry is expected to be worth an estimated $15.5 billion, according to the African Development Bank, indicating a profitable and exciting business potential. Wow. Africa's many cultures offer an array of clothing options that, when combined, can have a significant worldwide influence. Currently, Africa only accounts for a minor portion of the trillion-dollar global fashion sector. Specialized clothing manufacturers are, nevertheless, opening stores across the continent, and business people are grabbing the chance to establish African fashion labels that will command high prices from customers outside. The fashion sector has enormous scope due to the diversity and richness of African cultures. Accepting Africa's distinctive customs and clothing has the ability to propel the continent's fashion sector to a world-class level of influence on the global fashion landscape. The combined efforts of these diverse cultures have the potential to have a significant global effect and launch the African fashion industry to unparalleled heights. Africa still only has a small present proportion of this enormous business. The production plants that spin natural fibers like cotton and silk into textiles and then sew them into garments are just one link in the intricate chain that makes up the global fashion industry. Farmers grow natural fibers like cotton and silk. Manufacturers in Asia and China are being forced to look for alternatives due to rising labor expenses. Africa is becoming a more attractive location for the production of clothing due to its accessibility to workers at a low cost. A multitude of clothing manufacturers have already established themselves across the continent, capitalizing on the opportunities presented by reasonably priced labor. Number 9. African music